One day, while the mother eagle hunts to bring food to her chicks, they have a heated argument in the nest. The end result, the fall of the weaker one to the forest floor, pushed by the other. Fate would have it that Lucas found him, thus saving him from certain death. Lucas casually names the eagle Abel, after opening the Bible to the famous passage of the two brothers. Hello and welcome to Wildseed. In a beautiful valley in the Alps, there was a family of eagles made up of the king and queen of their kind and their 2 eggs. Dancer, the valley's park ranger, watched as the pair of eagles cared for their eggs, hoping that one of them would be their successor. However, the family's happiness was cut short when a hunter named Keller and his son Lucas moved to a small cabin in the mountains. Keller was an authoritarian man and not very affectionate with his son, who was still grappling with the death of his mother. On a summer afternoon, Dancer found the lifeless body of the Eagle King, who had fallen victim to Keller's rifle. With the father dead, the mother eagle was left alone to raise her 2 sons, who from an early age showed rivalry and hostility towards each other, leading them to a fight to the death in which the younger of the eagles ended up wounded and weak, unable to fly. Meanwhile, Lucas had taken refuge in the old home he shared with his mother. Lucas came across the injured little eagle and decided to take care of it in secret. Despite having no knowledge of how to care for a bird, Lucas found a way to save it, which led him to steal food to feed it and build a nest out of his clothes. One day, Dancer noticed the friendship that had emerged between Lucas and the eagle and decided to help them train the bird. Together, they built a suitable nest and provided the necessary food for its recovery. Over time, the friendship between Lucas and the eagle turned into a symbiotic relationship, where both found what they needed in the other. Lucas found in the eagle a reason to keep going, and the eagle found in Lucas a home to grow and develop. Lucas felt a special connection with the old house. Each time he ran to it to feed the eagle, he felt like he was delving into a part of family history. But Lucas was not only going to feed Abel, he was also going there to protect him from the foxes that were attacking him. One night, Lucas decided to share something very valuable with Abel, his family's Bible. As he read, he came across the story of 2 brothers named Cain and Abel. Lucas realized that the story was very similar to that of his eagle, and decided to name it Abel in honor of that connection. While Lucas took care of Abel, his brother was being trained by their mother to rule the mountains. Lucas tried to teach Abel to fly, but he didn't have enough knowledge and failed in the attempt. One day, Dancer came to Lucas's house and invited him to live with him for the summer to teach him how to train Abel. Lucas accepted and took Abel with him. In the forest cabin, Lucas found a portrait of a boy and an eagle that looked a lot like him and Abel. He wondered if that image was a foretelling of his future with Abel. After several attempts, Abel finally learned to fly thanks to the training from Lucas and Dancer. But one morning, Lucas woke up and discovered that Abel had disappeared. Lucas searched tirelessly until Abel finally returned. Lucas learned a valuable lesson in that search: never lose hope. Dancer and Lucas continued training Abel to be a faster hunter, but Keller, Lucas's father, opposed Dancer's method. Despite this, Abel finally made his first kill. But Dancer told Lucas that someday Abel would have to leave. Please, if you're enjoying the video, show it with your precious like. For you, it's just a second and you help me a lot. Lucas was sad, but he knew Dancer was right. He had learned a lot from Abel, and Abel had learned a lot from him. Although Lucas didn't know what the future held, he was certain that he would always carry Abel in his heart. Nature always seeks a balance, and for Abel, that balance meant returning to his home in the mountains. A few days after leaving his friend Lucas, Abel finds himself flying to the highest point of the mountain, where the snow never melts and the cold is relentless. As he ascends, he feels the gentle breeze on his feathers and the sun warming his skin. Finally, he reaches his home and reunites with his brother Cain, who looks at him with disdain. Abel tries to approach him, but Cain attacks him and the two fight over food. Despite their differences, the brothers learn to hunt together and survive in their natural habitat. Meanwhile, Lucas can't get Abel out of his mind. Every day he thinks about his friend and wonders how he is doing. One day, while walking through the snow, he sees a wolf print. Terrified, he runs towards his home but stumbles upon a bear trap that his father had set up to protect the wildlife. He screams in pain and despair, but no one seems to hear him. However, luckily, Dancer the ranger is nearby and hears his screams. He rushes to Lucas, frees him from the trap, and scares off the wolf with his rifle. Meanwhile, Abel and Cain have learned to coexist together on the mountain. As time goes by, they become stronger and more independent. However, life in the mountains is tough and sometimes death lurks around every corner. Abel and Cain learn to fight against the elements and survive in the cold and snow. One day, Dancer tells Lucas the story of the Brothers of the Wind. Lucas listens attentively and realizes that the story is similar to Abel and Cain's. He wants to know how the story ends, but Dancer tells him that even if they knew the ending, they wouldn't know how to get there. Meanwhile, Abel and Cain are in their nest awaiting the arrival of a new chick. As the days go by, Abel realizes that he misses Lucas and their friendship. However, he knows it's time to let go of his past and embrace his present. On a cold winter's night, Lucas is walking through the snow. All of a sudden, a strong gust of wind knocks him to the ground. An avalanche completely covers him and Lucas lays motionless under the rocks. Hours later, Keller finds Lucas beneath the rocks, frees him and takes him home. Lucas is in shock and can barely speak. Meanwhile, Abel and Cain are flying through the sky when a bolt of lightning falls from the sky and strikes Cain. Abel realizes that Cain has died. He's devastated but knows he must move on. Lucas knows that Abel is a wild animal and belongs to nature, but he can't help but feel a deep connection with him. Every time Lucas climbs the mountain, he looks up at the sky and thinks about his friend. Sometimes he even believes he sees him in the sky, flying free. One day, while Lucas is on the mountain with his father, he hears a call. He turns around and is surprised following the sound. As he gets closer, he realizes that it's Abel who is calling him. Abel lands on his arm and Lucas feels an indescribable emotion. However, he also knows it's time to let his friend go so he can live his life as a free eagle. Lucas says goodbye to Abel and releases him into the sky. As Abel soars in the air, Lucas feels that his friend will always be in his heart. In the final scene, Abel is in his nest next to a beautiful female eagle. Lucas walks away with a smile on his face, knowing that Abel has found his place in the world and will always be his friend. The film was entirely shot outdoors in the Alps at 2,000 meters altitude for 6 weeks. This film is part of a trilogy about animals and is the second installment after Among Wolves. But the adventure doesn't end here. I wait for you in the next one. Let's go!